Welcome, everybody, to the F4 Hunger Awareness Show.
It's my goal to feed 1 billion people before I die.
We want to bring awareness around the issue of hunger and food insecurity.
7 to 8 million people served so far. With the sole goal of eradicating world hunger by connecting sources of food to recipients in need. Fiorenza's Food for Friends.
Hello, everyone. This is Derek Fiorenza with the F4 Hunger Awareness Show. And we have a familiar face on the show today, Mr. Tom Mallon of Mallon Insurance Agency. Tom, how are you today?
I'm well, Derek. And yourself?
I'm doing well. Tom, last time you were on our show, we really got deep. We talked about our faith. We talked about giving back in the community, and you're back with us today. We have a couple things to talk about. Recently, there was a shred event, so we're going to dive into that event that you do every year for F4 and the local community, and then also we have our cook-off, which is scheduled for October the 19th. So whoever's listening to this might be before or after the event. So we'll kind of in advance thank you for your support and sponsorship of that event. But maybe we kind of get started with the Shred event. This is an idea that you created a couple years ago. What is the Shred event? How does it work? And how does it benefit the community?
Awesome. Well, we always thought about customer appreciation within our agency. And a lot of our folks are in the Philadelphia/Delaware County area. And then when we moved our offices to Springfield, Delaware County, we branched out into Chester County.
Mm-hmm.
So we originally did the shredding event, like I said, as a customer appreciation. But then we said, you know what? Let's open it up to the community because we think it's fun, it's great, it's a way to say thank you, it's a way to bring awareness to not only our office in the area, but bring awareness to F4 with our relationship with your organization. And again, just a great way to say thank you to all the people that support us. So we worked with Cardinal Harrow High School right here in Springfield, and they are graciously allow us to use their facilities out in front. And we sponsor the shredding truck that comes, and people can bring their old documents, old taxes, whatever they have that's in the basement, in the attic, wherever, all that clutter. They come and they can get rid of it for free. And all we do is we ask that they donate a non-perishable food item or cash. Cash is king, obviously, when it comes to food insecurity. It allows us to purchase a lot of food for the pantries. And in particular, in Delaware County, we work with City Team of Chester, and we also work with St. Mark's Food Pantry in Broomall. So this past year was our fifth annual shredding event. We were able to collect between food items and cash around 2,300 pounds of food.
Wow.
And we were also able to shred and recycle, which is the key part of it. The paper we shred does get recycled. I believe it was over 5,000 pounds of paper.
Wow.
And on average, we've been doing probably about 2,000, 2,500 pounds of food each and every year, and probably about 4,000 or 5,000 pounds of paper. So the pantries that we support are more than appreciative. I know I received a letter last week from St. Mark's. They were profusely thanking us for our support because they are actually hurting for food, and they really need the support. And we were able to give probably we split it 50-50 between City Team and St. Mark's. So they probably got about 1,300 pounds of food from us.
Amazing. I know your relationship with City Team goes deeper than just the Shred event, right? With your son's pizza shop?
It does. It does. So not only are we able to support City Team through the shredding event, but we also have a relationship with them. So every Monday, they stop by the office and they pick up donated food from my son's restaurant, which happens to be two doors down from my office. So we go in, and any of the food that is left over the week prior, it's all wrapped up, it's all frozen, and we're able to give that to them. And we give them leftover pizza. We give them leftover rolls or bread that we may not be using. We give them if fruits and vegetables or whatever there that probably needs to go that may spoil shortly thereafter. We give that to them, and they use it immediately, which is awesome. So it's a good way. So right there, we probably do in any given week. It could be anywhere from 10 to 50 pounds of food, and
Wow.
that's every Monday morning. They show up at my doorstep around 8:30, and I just head on over and we support that. So that's fantastic. And similar, I was talking about the Delaware County event. We also in the springtime do the same shredding event and pantry support out in Chester County as well.
It's amazing. Let's focus on your son's restaurant for a little bit because this
Sure.
is at the core of what F4 does, which is coordinating food recovery and logistics. But tell us a little bit about Tom's restaurant, Toscana. Um, I know we've talked in the past. You bring vegetables freshly from the garden. It's kind of unique and different. The pizza is absolutely phenomenal. I've had the
Thank you.
salad you treated me before. Delicious. Everything I've ever had there has been amazing. Tell us a little bit about the restaurant.
So my son bought the restaurant about actually be 8 years this December. He, college was not his thing, but he's an amazingly intelligent person, and he loves to use his hands. So when I threw this idea of working in a pizza shop, he kind of looked at me like I was nuts. But he sat back and contemplated on it, prayed on it, and he actually worked there for about 4 or 5 months with not getting paid at all, but he just learned what it takes, and he came back and he said, "Yeah, I think we want to do it." And Diane and I have been blessed that we could help him, him take out a loan for the place, and he worked diligently to pay that loan off within 4 years, which was awesome. He had a mentor, which was my neighbor, who unfortunately passed away about 6 months ago. But he was first generation off the boat, Naples, Italy,
Wow.
a restaurateur, entrepreneur, and my son really looked up to him, and he took him under his wings. And the one thing that he said was, everything's got to be fresh. It
Mm,
has to be fresh, and your customers deserve freshness.
mm,
So fresh dough. Thomas makes his dough almost every day, if not every other day.
wow.
Fresh vegetables.
Mm,
And my wife and I, we during the summertime, we don't do it year round, but in the summertime, we have a pretty large garden on our property where we grow the tomatoes, the peppers, the onions. Sometimes we do the lettuce if the deer don't eat it, but we try to supply all the vegetables that go into the salads or go onto the pizzas or whatnot. And it's all organic. We don't use any pesticides. It's just, Mother Nature and a little sweat equity that goes into those. This year we were able to do it. We were blessed with numerous tomatoes and peppers and et cetera, et cetera. Um, and the customers, they know it. They know it. And Thomas was able to utilize that to make his stuff as fresh as possible.
Here's a different question for you, Tom. How do you keep all of the insects away from your vegetables without using the pesticides? What's your remedy?
It's a good question. We actually don't. We uh, as you well know, we raise honeybees on my property, and so it's that's more of a reason not to spray anything with anything.
Got it.
And we just say a couple prayers, put it in God's hands that Mother Nature takes care of us. The only thing I really do is, if need be, we water it, and that's it. And the bees, ironically, take care of the rest. They pollinate all the vegetable plants, and to the point where the fruits and the vegetables of our labors coming our way. So basically, a lot of luck, and prayers, but we've been fortunate. The bugs have kept their distance.
That's amazing. So then in this whole symbiotic relationship, the bees have a role they're playing.
Absolutely. There's in any given day in the springtime, in the summertime, even now, because there are still, like my pumpkin plants, are still flowering,
Amazing.
and so that's good because the food sources are getting few and far in between now that we're heading into the fall. So the
Yep.
bees need something. So I'd rather have them eat naturally than me feeding them something that I purchase or I make on my own. So yes, it's always good to when you go into the garden to see my bees on my flowers, which is it's a beautiful thing.
I think it's so unique to be able to bringing that to your son's restaurant. The community gets to eat such health. It's healthier, obviously, without all those pesticides, and the taste is. I know it tastes amazing. That probably contributes a lot to why it's so good.
Right. In fact, our I tried a different tomato plant this year, and we usually in any given year plant 10 to 15 tomato plants, and the tomatoes were out of control. And everybody that we served them, or people in the office that I gave a couple to, they said they were phenomenal. I'm not a big tomato fan, so I do have to discount what I'm saying here. I'm just taking the word for everybody else. They said they were ridiculously juicy and fresh, and so I'm glad we were able to provide a great crop this year.
You like tomatoes in your like obviously your pizza and your macaroni sauce. You just don't like it like on a burger, you mean?
Correct, correct.
Some people are like that. They don't like the taste of the tomato on a burger, but when it's like part of a sauce, they like it.
Well, I'm going to tell you a quick funny story. My, I was not a big vegetable fan growing up, and at
Got it.
one point in time when I was young and very impressionable, my father handed me a tomato, and he told me it was an apple.
Oh, geez.
Because he was trying to get me to eat vegetables, and he knew I hated them. So
Oh,
I bit into it, and obviously, when you bite into a tomato, it just
juice
squishes in your mouth.
everywhere. Yep.
So that probably
That
was
hurt you. Yep.
the genesis of my hatred towards tomatoes.
What a terrible way to get introduced to it, though, Tom.
He
Jeez.
tried. He was just a
Oh,
dad being a dad.
God bless him.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
tough way. I really do love to have tomatoes on my burger. I think they're phenomenal that way, especially some nice onions. But with the sauce, there's nothing like those tomatoes from the garden. Amazing.
I agree. I agree. And a lot of people have made, they've taken my cucumbers and they've made pickles.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
they've made pickled cucumbers. They've made sauce for spaghetti. They've made
Yep.
sauce for their pizzas. The myriad of possibilities. People have come back and said they've used our stuff and
It's
found it extremely delicious.
it's so cool. What kind of tomatoes did you plant this year?
I actually did something. I used a beef steak tomato,
Okay.
and they are huge. They're like the size of softballs.
Wow.
And so not only were they good, they because of the size, they stretched, and we were able to get a lot of slices of tomatoes out of each one.
That's amazing. How many did you wind up planting? Do you know? Remember?
I think I planted this year about 12
12.
plants.
And you had enough coming in that you're able to help with the restaurant with the 12.
Correct. For probably the good portion of July and August. It took them a while to ripen up because I think I got a little late start this year.
Yep.
But July, August, and September, we were able to provide all the tomatoes to the restaurant.
When do you like to get your garden started?
We usually start in obviously after the first frost, but I try to start things indoors from seed,
Okay.
and then we'll once they get to a certain size, then we'll bring them out probably in like May or June.
Okay. Do you source your seeds locally?
We I I'm going to say I cheat a little bit. I go to a farmer's website that I use all the time,
Got it.
and they have really good. I try to get the organic non-GMO seeds
Yep.
to use.
It's a whole new world. I've been learning about it, and I'm fascinated by anybody that's growing their own produce. The whole homesteading thing to me is fascinating.
It's a good release. It's a great stress reliever
Yeah.
to get out there and just chill with nature, and you know it's a lot of work. I'm not saying that. I mean,
Yeah.
between the bees and the garden, we put countless hours out there, but it's well worth it. And I'll give you a good example. We did corn this year as well.
Oh,
Just to go outside. Hey, what do you want to eat tonight? Well, we're gonna have maybe we'll have some chicken. I said, how about I go get some corn, some tomatoes, some lettuce, some cucumbers, and just to go out there and pick it and bring it right in, boil it up or whatever. It doesn't matter how you prepare it. It's literally farm to table,
amazing.
and you can't get it any fresher. And that to me that's pretty cool.
I love a good sweet corn. One
Oh,
of my favorite things from the garden, and I didn't I still can't grow them very big, is onions.
yeah, they're
There's
hard.
something about but there's something about homemade, like when you're growing it from the ground, those onions just taste better than the store.
Correct.
I don't know
Correct.
what it is, a little sweeter. It just
Yep.
I can't get them to get bigger, but they're
Right.
so good.
Yeah, and we do a lot because of the rabbits and because of the deer, which they both decimate a lot of stuff. We do a lot in planters on our deck,
Ah,
so
smart.
we do our carrots there, we do our beets, we do our radishes, we do. I have strawberries on my deck. I also have all the herbs. We do basil, lavender, sage, thyme. We have all that right on the deck because if I put that out there, the
They're gone.
deer and the rabbits they'll just mow it down.
That is so smart, Tom. Really good thinking. So I guess let's transition a little bit. In the insurance world, what are some trends you're seeing this year? Have there been a lot of auto claims, home claims? Is there anything that you're seeing more or less than in the market?
Well, it's a great question. Claims are claims, and I think over the last couple of years they have increased. What I'm really seeing this year and last year is a large increase of liability claims.
Hmm.
It appears that we live in a litigious society, and if I if it's a small rear end or it's a horrific crash, everybody's unfortunately getting sued these days. And sometimes, and I hate to say this, that it behooves an insurance company to pay out so things don't get dragged into the courts where it may take forever or it may cost them even more money. So what happens if there's a lot of settlements, then your rates across the board are going to go up. And I'm seeing with umbrella policies that rates are significantly increasing.
So explain what to our listeners what an umbrella policy is.
Sure, umbrella policy is a fancy term for nothing more than excess liability. So if you have, and an umbrella is exactly that. It's something that you put over your head that will envelop your home, your auto, and let's say you might have rental properties or a secondary home or something like that. It's going to cover all that. Now you have to have specific limits of liability on your respective auto and home policies in order to qualify for an umbrella. But if you do have an accident where you're being sued, uh, or you're negligent on the home side and you're getting sued, your liability limits on your policy will get exhausted first.
Hmm.
And then if the settlement amount is above and beyond the coverages within your policy, then the umbrella kicks in. And a typical umbrella policy, the entry level liability coverage is $1 million. So you can go anywhere from a million up to about $10 million, depending on what you're trying to protect.
So Tom, when you meet with your clients and potential clients, prospects, you do a review of their policy. Do you think most people have appropriate and adequate coverages? Obviously, after they meet with you, they do, but prior to meeting with you, or do you think most people are walking around with maybe not enough liability coverage or not an umbrella policy because they don't understand it?
To answer your question, yes, yes, there. We always come across the folks that, and part of insurance is education.
Hmm.
I don't expect any of my customers to know what I know,
Hmm.
but it's my job to impart my knowledge on them and make them feel comfortable with what they're paying. Now, you know as well as I do, cost and prices and everything is ever increasing.
Yeah.
So I do come across folks that might have state minimum coverage. They might have liability only coverage, and it could be an affordability issue. I respect that, but I always impress upon them the what ifs.
Yeah.
What if you own a house? And what if you get sued?
Hmm.
You've lived in your house for 25 years, 30 years. You have a beautiful nest egg in what they call equity.
Hmm.
Do you want someone stealing that from you to pay off a claim? So for an extra $20 a month, $50 a month, whatever it may be, is it worth exposing yourself to a lawsuit which could take the equity out of your house, that could potentially tap into your retirement or force you into a second mortgage or something like that? To me, the answer is no. But I also understand, and I'm just going to reiterate, I also understand the affordability issue. We have phone bills to pay, we have electric bills to pay, we have mortgages to pay, we got to put the food on the table. There's a myriad of bills that we all have. I get it. I get it. But it comes down to the prioritization of what means most to you and protecting that, so you cannot be sued. You don't want to lose it at the time of a claim. So it's a balance. And if I can educate someone and let them make their own decisions, I will give them the "if I were you" speech. I would definitely do that. But I certainly respect any decisions that they make, and then obviously keep in touch with them along the path, while they're within our office or even without our office, because people still, I have former customers who still call me up and ask me questions, and I entertain that. I get that. Because if I personally think that a policy is too expensive, I'll go find another policy that may not be as expensive for you. Because the last thing I'm going to do is make you house poor because you can't afford it, or just not be able to afford your bills. Period. And then other things can come down the pike, which we don't want there. So yes, we do a lot of education and a lot of what ifs, because insurance is nothing but is a lot of stories.
Hmm.
And I tell a lot of stories all day long of people that have gone through similar scenarios, that this is what they did and they were protected, or this is what they didn't do and this is what happened.
Yep.
So, so part-time educator, part-time insurance guy, part-time psychiatrist, and all of the above.
I would imagine, and I don't do the type of insurance you do, but I would imagine that it's probably difficult because a consumer says, take a look at my policy, and they're looking at probably, I would assume, price. But the conversation you just had really focused on education around liability and exposure. And what's the purpose of insurance? It's to ensure that if something catastrophic happens, you don't become destitute, essentially.
Right.
Lose your house, lose your cars, lose your 401k, whatever you might have been saving in your account, your bank. So is that really difficult to just explain that the reason your premium that you're looking at here is so low is because you don't have X, Y, and Z coverages, or you don't have this umbrella coverage. The reason that it's going to cost more with these options is because this is what it's actually protecting. Is that hard to get that message across?
Sometimes yes,
Okay.
sometimes yes, because I have to be a realist.
Yeah.
I have to understand and deliver a message which says, okay, we're not all making $1 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's take your situation
Yeah.
and let's customize a plan for you that can protect you as much as we can with the dollars that you have to
Yes.
be able to allocate towards insurance. And I'll give you a great example. I won't use any names or anything like that. I had someone come to me whose wife just had a couple run-ins with claims,
Yep.
and he called me up and he said, Tom, he said, she's going to kill somebody.
Oh, geez.
She's had two claims in like 6 months, and I fear that somebody's going to come after me. And she did get sued for $50,000 on a small little rear end, and that was paid out. So he said, "What do I do?" And I said, "Well, you have the house. You have the auto. Let's look at an umbrella.
Mm.
And I said, okay, let's start here. What are we trying to protect here?
Yeah.
And it's a hypothetical question that they ask. I said, talk to me on your assets. What do you have? Well, I have a house that's worth, and I'm probably just using
Right.
round numbers,
Yep.
$750,000. No mortgage. Okay, well, to me, that's cash. You know, it's
Yep.
one sale away of having a lot of cash.
Correct.
I said, okay, how about your investments? 401k, stocks,
Yep.
all the annuities, all that stuff.
Mm.
He said, well, I probably have about 2.5 million.
Mm. Wow.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. So let's just call it 3 million. Okay, I said we need to protect you at 3 million.
Makes
Right
sense.
now, your auto is 250,000, 500,000 in liability. Your home is 300,000. Okay, so your exposure is deep.
Very much.
Someone's going to look at your assets and you're going to say, "Wow, he's got 3 million," and your protection is only 250 on this side, 300 on this side.
Scary, Tom.
We got to get you an umbrella. And
Yes.
he said, "Fine, get me a $3 million umbrella. I want everything covered." And it ended up costing him about $900 a year.
Wow.
Okay, so do the math.
Yes.
I don't have my calculator. nine
No
hundred
brainer.
dollars divided by 12 is less than $100 a month
Easy.
to put a $3 million stay away from my assets
Hmm.
protection plan together.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, not everybody can afford an umbrella, and especially nowadays because they've gotten very expensive. But when you have those kind of assets, and this is the conversation I have with everybody. If you get sued, where are they turning first? Your checkbook. Can you write me a check to cover my expenses? Yes or no? No. Okay. Two. How about the equity in your house?
Mm.
Okay, let's go. Well, I don't have any equity. Okay, now let's go to your 401k slash other assets,
Yep.
savings,
Yep.
checking,
Yep.
retirement. Let's go check a look at. Okay, and then we don't have anything there. Okay, how about we garnish your wages?
Mm.
Now that's the grim reaper end of the line scenario, but
Yep.
that's what could happen. Could
Mm.
happen. Does it happen very often? No,
Right.
no. But you have to at least paint that picture and educate the customer and let them make their own rational decision.
Yeah. That's what I love about how you approach your work, Tom. You have such a heart to help people and to serve, and approaching it pragmatically with a pure desire to educate. What that does is it empowers people. And I think that's a great gift you're giving people. You're not just giving people a policy, but you're giving them empowerment, knowledge that they can use to protect themselves and their family.
Right, right. And I tell everybody, I say, you have the office number, you have my cell phone. I give it out to all my customers. Any questions? Call me. I don't care if it's nights, weekends. It doesn't matter. I just tell them don't call me 3 o'clock in the morning. So, but and they use it. They'll use each phone number to call us. And my folks here are great. They're not very knowledgeable. But my mission is not just to sell. It's to create a relationship, a long-term relationship, and educate along the way. And if you need us to come to your house, we'll come to your house. If you want to come into the office, come to the office. If you want to talk on the phone, great. That's not a problem. But again, everybody's paying good money for whatever widget it is, and in this case, it's insurance. You deserve to know what you're paying for. And in my case, not only are you paying for the protection of what means most to you, it's also to have someone that can counsel you along the way.
Yeah.
And for example, in a couple of hours, I'm getting in my car and I'm going to visit a 90-year-old customer who is just a little confused. And I'm going to sit at his kitchen table and with he and his wife, and we're going to go through everything they have. And if I have to sit there till 7, 8 o'clock at night, so be it. I don't care. Until they understand it, until they have a grasp on it, and are comfortable with it and can sleep at night. That's the key thing. You got to be able to sleep at night with the protection you have. If you can't sleep at night, then you should be calling me and we should be reviewing everything.
Where, number one, why are you so passionate about this? And then number two, where does that relentless pursuit just to serve at all costs, where does that come from?
You're asking a really, really good question. One I probably have never pondered. My entire career has been customer service.
Yeah.
I've had three careers, one in the credit card business, one in the educational side of things, and now one in the insurance world. All three have been customer based. I have always been a people person. I absolutely love dealing with folks. I love to get to know them. And truly in this business, if I don't know a little bit about you and your family, then I can't do my job.
Hmm.
So it behooves me to get to know you. And I tell all my folks, I said, if we don't know our people, then we are doing them a disservice. You need to know something about everybody. And that's a hard job. What drives me? That's I don't know if I can answer that, Derek. I maybe it's just that the good Lord has put in my DNA that I need to serve people. My mom was a big proponent of this. She was the consummate, lunch lady slash field day volunteer slash everything. She really taught me that you got to get involved. You got to really, treat people with respect, regardless of race, color, creed. It doesn't matter. People are people. Everybody deserves respect. My dad always taught me that you got to give back.
Hmm.
You got to go back to the old neighborhood. You got to give back. You got to keep in touch with all the folks that help you, create the foundation of who you are, and respect that, and certainly honor that. And that's probably where I get it. All the schools that I've ever attended, based on my parents' hard work and sacrifice for my sister and I. The schools were always big on community service and giving back to those less fortunate. And I'm just trying to do my job. I'm trying to do what I think the good Lord wants me to do. Diane, my wife, is the same way, and and I think we've imparted that in on our kids as well. So it's a tough question to say where I get my drive from. Part of it may be out of the fact that athletics have played a key part in my life, and still do. As you well know, I'm still refereeing college and high school soccer. But the fact that I love to be around people with common goals, and that whole team aspect, and the whole win thing. And that's I think that's what drives me.
Yeah, it's interesting, Tom. I listen to you and I hear this is as much about a calling for you as it is a job. That's number one. And the second thing is like a calling to serve, which is deeper than just, whatever. We all have to go to work and take care of our families, but you're called to serve. And the way you're doing it is through providing education around insurance. Insurance is a solution to the needs that someone has, but you're called to serve. That's what you're answering that call internally. And then it sounds like your parents' example that they modeled for you, which maybe growing up, I felt the same way, was I want to honor and respect my parents. And that's probably maybe how you feel too. But maybe that their example of living with integrity is one that you just modeled because you saw it.
Right, right. I mean, I did. I grew up watching it, and certainly you learn from that. And I think two things that I learned from my parents. One, I always heard them say, when you wake up in the morning, you have a question to ask yourself:
Hmm.
do you want to go to work, or do you have to go to work?
Wow.
And I want to go to work
Amen.
because every day is different. I love the conversations that I have with my folks, and some are tough conversations. I'm not going to say everything's peaches and cream,
Totally.
But at the end of each conversation, there's the thank you. I look forward to speaking with you again, and it's the mutual respect. So, and for me, if the day comes where I wake up and I say I have to go to work, then I'm going to go find something else to do.
Mm.
And my mother, and this is probably a little obscure, but she always, and I never probably, I didn't fully understand what she was trying to impart in myself and my sister. But when we always had tough conversations, she always said vanilla and chocolate ice cream.
Mm.
And I said, "What are you talking about?" And she would explain it to me. And I've used that cliche with my kids thousands of times. But what she was trying to impart in me was saying that, Derek, you might like vanilla ice cream
Mm.
and I might like chocolate ice cream, but respect the fact I need to respect the fact that you are a vanilla guy and you got to respect the fact that I'm a chocolate guy.
Yep.
But it doesn't make us bad people
Right.
because we like two different things.
Right.
So we have to accept the differences in people.
Yes.
And I got that from my mother just from a simple vanilla and chocolate. And I was like, that is such a elementary statement with like huge implications and huge meaning. And I don't even know what to say any further than that. It's just that something simple, so profound.
Mm.
And I've taken that into my life and I've tried to use it and try to impart it on, people that I know.
I love that.
Vanilla and chocolate.
And vanilla and chocolate.
It's unbelievable.
Vanilla and chocolate.
Vanilla and chocolate.
Simpler the better. I admire you so much, and I love your passion to serve your clients. I think it's so special. It's to me, it's like if you work with Tom Mallon, you're gonna get an experience unlike anything else because of the degree to which you care. You care so deeply, and it comes across so boldly, so strongly, not in an arrogant way, in a humble, I just want to care and help you. Like there's a love there that you feel. I love that passion.
And my tact is I'm not going to write a policy for anybody just to write a policy. I'm going to write a policy like you're my dad,
I love
like
it.
you're my sister, like you're my cousin, you're my family. And my my agency, I consider that family
Hmm.
because it's formed with relationships and it is formed with and I'm glad to say this and I'm happy to say this, it's formed in friendships. It's just not a business relationship. I don't want business relationships. That's transaction based.
Yeah.
I'm not into that. Uh, if you want transaction based, you can pick up an 800 number and go there. I want a relationship, and I'm going to be honest. The relationships that we deliver are second to none. But that relationship may cost a little extra money, but what you're going to get is tenfold
Right.
out of. And again, I'm not bragging. I am not an arrogant, cocky person.
Not at all.
I try to be as humble as possible, the way my parents taught me. But you're going to get a relationship that is based on mutual respect.
Well, and I think the key missing link a lot of times is people don't know what they don't know. So if they're not taking the time to educate themselves or get the education from someone like you, Tom, then they might not be able to adequately and thoughtfully compare, one policy to another. They probably can't. I know I wouldn't be able to without having someone guide me through it the way that you're talking about. So I think that alone, there's tremendous value that they're able to receive from working with you.
Right, right. And I did a house policy thing over the summer, first time home buyer. And they had auto with somebody else. And they came to me for the home quote. And I gave them the home quote.
Mhm.
And I told them that this is what I'm giving you coverage wise, and this is why. And
Yep.
then we started to talk about the auto, and I found out that they had state minimum 1530.
Wow.
And we talked about it. And I just laid it all out on the table. And I said, as a homeowner,
Yep.
you need to have at least 100, 300 liability on your auto.
Mm.
And you need to have at least 100, that well, 100's baked in, but 300,000 on the home.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to shoot you an email. Here's all the pros of having it, the cons of not having it, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, it doesn't matter where you put your auto insurance.
Yep.
What matters is you're properly insured.
Bingo.
And I didn't hear from him from about a week or so. And she called me back up and she said, Tom, I talked to my fiance at the time, now husband, and she said, yeah, we are going to change our auto coverages. And not only are we doing that, we appreciate the time you took out to do that, and we want to bring the auto over to you. And I'm like, great, that's fantastic. But it was that hard conversation of saying, listen, you are doing yourself a disservice. Yes, it's going to cost you more money, but this is why. And we went through it, and ultimately they made the sound decision to protect themselves better.
You're their advocate, their champion, their defender. Borrow a soccer term, you're like the sweeper. You're preventing anything from getting through. It's amazing. I think that business owners, Tom, could learn a lot from the model of service that you've implemented here. I think there's a lot to be gleaned. We talked about produce earlier, but there's a lot to be gleaned here from this philosophy and this dedication to service through education. I think it's a beautiful service model.
Right. My first job was with MBNA America, which is the old credit card company. I'm sure you remember that, which is now Bank of America.
Mm.
And they taught us customer service,
Amen.
big time. They were customer service frenzied company. Charlie Cawley, rest his soul, was the CEO. He was an amazing person. He knew what he was driven. He knew what the customer wanted. He knew the service that he expected from all of us. That's probably where I get some of my service acumen. But at the top of every doorway throughout all the buildings we had is it always had a saying about the customer. The customer is always right.
Mm.
And that was above every doorway. But you have to dig into that statement. The customer is always right. Yes, but the customer also can be educated.
Yes.
And chatted with. And I appreciated all those sayings because they really resonated with me. And the fact of the service that we provided at that level with a company that was worldwide. It wasn't just a domestic company; it was worldwide, and thousands and hundreds of thousands of customers, and to be able to provide individual customer service to each and every one, pretty amazing, pretty amazing. And that was a good first career that I had there, and that went through to my second career, and then obviously my third one with Allstate right now. So that certainly helped.
Tom, what's the best way to get a hold of you? And what would be a good first step if someone's on the fence? Should I review my policies? What would you say? Good first step would be what?
That's a great question. If you have an agent, I would reach. Well, I always ask people when they come to me, "Do you know who your agent is?" And if the answer to that is no, I said you have a problem.
Hmm.
You have a problem. And I say, if you would like, I will gladly review all your stuff, whether you come with me or not. I will tell you what I think you should have, or whether it's ideal policy that you have. I can quote you. That's not a problem. If I can save you money, great. If I can't, I will say I'll tell you to stay where you are. But a relationship with your agent, to me, is paramount. If they don't have it, I would say try and reach out to him or her and create a relationship. And if not, ask away. I'm glad to give free reviews. I have no problems people emailing me or calling me and say, hey, I'm with State Farm, Geico, Progressive, Liberty Mutual. It doesn't matter. Can you just review my stuff and let me know what you think? I will give you 100% unbiased, no strings attached opinion. And again, and then if you come over and we can save you money, that's awesome. That's fantastic. But the protection is, to me, is more important than any you joining my company or my agency or whatnot. I truly would rather have you be protected and with a different company than with me. Obviously, I would love to have you with me. There's no doubt about it. Uh, but the financial aspect and the protection aspect, that's key. That's key for me.
Amazing. Well, Tom,
And
go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm sorry to interrupt. I mean, obviously, if anybody wants to reach out, you can search me online to just do Allstate Tom Mallon. It'll pop right up the website. It's real simple. My email address is just tmallon, Mallon at allstate.com. It doesn't get any simpler than that. And like I said, I'd be happy to help out in any way I can or answer any questions that you may have.
And we'll include all of your links on our post. We'll put it on YouTube and Spotify. This has been great. I feel like every time we could talk for hours. I feel like we were just touching the surface on a lot of different topics. We covered produce and growing the vegetables. We covered the shred event, which you do every year. Is that done in the spring and the fall? The spring is in Chester County and then the fall is in Delaware County?
That is correct. So usually in March, April, we'll do Chester County, and in September we do Delaware County at Cardinal O'Hara High School
And then in addition to that, with your son's restaurant, you're doing the food recovery weekly on Mondays,
every
which
week. Yes,
is consistent giving back in the community. And then you've got this amazing business that you've built, and you've got the staff that's committed to providing education and serving with your heart. It's one thing just to perform the functions of whatever your job is, but you're putting your heart into it. So I think there's an opportunity for people not just to get their policy reviewed, but to have education second to none, and to have an opportunity to work with somebody that's so passionate about them. As you said, every policy you do is like you're doing it for your dad or your mom or your uncle, and I think there's something neat about that. Putting that level of care and prudence into each engagement is really missing a lot from society, and it's unique and special. So I love that.
well, as you well know, I think, and I think it's just the way we're going.
Yeah.
We are more in a robotic society with business. You have the phones are answered by a robot. AI is becoming more prevalent in a lot of things. And what's missing is the one-on-one contact. And call me old-fashioned. Until the day I die, I want to have that one-on-one with my folks. And I just don't like when I just don't like the robotic way of doing business. I know it's cost savings. I know it's the way we're going. I get it. I'm not that old. I am realistic. But you know, here you call us up, you get a live voice. After yes, we are robotic in the initially, just because of the legality of things and whatnot. But you can bypass the whole robotic system and get a live voice, and that's key to me. It's the one-on-one, face-to-face contact.
I love it. Well, please reach out to Tom Mallon to have your insurance policies reviewed, to get education, to learn, and please stop by if you're in Delaware County. Toscana Gourmet Pizza food is unbelievable, and you know where they're sourcing it from, their backyard. Everything is fresh per the mentor from Italy. Um,
Yes.
we really enjoy our time with you. We appreciate the partnership. Thank you for supporting our charity as we work to fight hunger and food insecurity, and thank you for what you do in the community, for the example that you set for so many. So thank you for that, Tom.
Always my pleasure, Derek. Anytime.
With that, I am Derek Fiorenza. Our guest today has been Tom Mallon on the F4 Hunger Awareness Show, and you can reach out to Tom for any of your insurance needs. Tom, thanks for your time, and have a great rest of your day.
You as well. Thanks again, Derek. Really appreciate it. God bless.
God bless.